if you couldn't already tell, today we're going to be top dressing the green with the Eco 250. Really need to get on top of this sponginess on this green. The green was good, but we still need top dress, and I'm going to show you guys why and why it might be important for your lawn as well. Show you how we level it, what I've done before to get it growing, and let's just get it done. Yo mate, what up? Welcome to another lawn tip vid. So before I show you guys the golf green, I just want to talk about top dressing a little bit and answer some of the frequently asked questions, because I get asked questions a couple of times a week, a couple of times a day almost, about top dressing, what sand to get, how much to put out, what do I ask for at the landscape supply when I'm looking for sand. I mean, there's so many things. Do I use sand or soil even? So let's talk about all those processes there. But to start off, sand is 100% the go, and I'll tell you why. So the main reason I like to use sand for top dressing is because it doesn't break down over time. I've used like organic soil mulches or mixes in the past to top dress, and they give your lawn a nice green up when you put them out, but within a year or two they break down and you get rid of all those levels that you spent all the time and effort spreading out the soil to get. Now I know sand doesn't have nutrients, but we can amend that with liquid fertilizers or granular fertilizers. So in this area just here, I put some liquid fertilizer out last week. You guys saw that in the video. I put out my Lawn Tips spring mix and a little bit of enhancement, which has some nitrogen in there, which is enough to push some growth on this area. It's already repaired quite a bit since that groom and since we put that liquid fertilizer out, but there is just some spots still that look a little bit nasty. I'll show you that in a minute. But let's just talk about the type of sand you ask for when you go to buy some. So this sand here is some sand that I get locally from Yagara. The guys at Denkol supply this. This is the Yagara coarse sand. Now it says it's coarse sand, but that's only because it's a little bit coarser than their fine sand. So it's got a blend of fine particles and coarse particles as well. Now the reason you want both is you want some coarse in there to help with drainage, but you also want some fines in there to help retain some moisture and some nutrients in there as well. If it's too coarse, everything's going to drop straight through and it's going to drain way too quick. If it's too fine, it's going to compact and be super hard, and you're going to really struggle to grow grass in it. When it comes to asking for what sand to get, there's a couple of different types. If you can get access to 90-10, which is 90 parts sand, 10% organic, like soil or organics, or 80-20, or 70-30, 100% go for that if you can get it. If I could get that here, that's what I would be getting. But I can't get it, so I get some coarse sand from Yagara. Now, you can also ask for USGA sand if that's available in the area. If it's not, and you're in my situation, best thing to do is ask for a particle breakdown of the size, and just make sure there's a good amount of fines and a good amount of coarse in there. You basically want it, you can do a test, you can grab some in your hand, squeeze it, and if it breaks apart pretty easily, but it's still got some parts that clump up a bit, you know you got a good mixture there, which is like that. Now the problem with this mix is this time I've got a few rocks in here, unfortunately, with this blend. That's the problem with these guys, because it's not obviously designed for top dressing your yard with, but it just is the perfect sand for this situation. Sometimes it's clean, sometimes it's not. Just depends on how much they screen it. So make sure you ask for some screened sand as well, and make sure it's washed. I mean, generally most places will wash their sand anyway, and you're not going to find many weed seeds in sand because it's coming out of quarries super deep. So how much sand should you put out when you're top dressing? Now, generally during reno time, I recommend people put out 10 mil in thickness over the whole lawn. Now that will be 1 cube of soil per 100 square meters. So if you had 200 square meters of lawn, buy yourself 2 cube of sand or soil to do that area if you decide to go down the soil route. But I highly recommend you go for sand if you can do it, because of what I said previously. Now, when you do order it as well, make sure you ask for it in a cube instead of asking for it in tons, just because when you go tons, sometimes it can be wet and you get the worst end of the bargain, if that makes sense. So always ask for it in cube. You're just gonna get a better deal from it. Now, if you're doing top dressing throughout the season, you can go a little bit less, especially grass types that aren't as aggressive, and if you want to keep mowing along the way as well. Bump down to 5 mil, so half a cube per 100 square meters. Even do a quarter of that, so a quarter of a cube per 100 square meters. If you want to get into dusting, you go 1/8 of a cube on an area like this. So I use hardly anything when I'm dusting the green. Today we're going to go a little bit more than a dusting. We're going to put a heavier dose out, so I may be doing probably about 2 or 3 of those there. So we're gonna get quite a bit of sand out just to fix a few areas around here. I'm not sure how well you guys can see this on camera, but this area here, at the moment, every time that I mow here, it scalps in after that groom, because when we groomed it, we helped stand the leaf up a bit. Now, every time I cut into this area, it scalps down like this. So the top dressing is going to help with this, because we're going to bring our soil level up a bit, which means our crowns are going to be a little bit lower, which means there's going to be more leaf up higher, which means we should just cut leaf when we come through here after doing this top dress. So now obviously I'm going to have to let it grow through a little bit after the top dress, so I won't need to mow this area for 2 to 3 days. What we're aiming to do today, to get rid of this scalping, which if you've got scalping at home, this is another good way to help with this, as well as just doing a height of cut reset, so scalping your lawn back over the whole area lower than you normally cut, and then raising your height of cut up to your normal height of cut height after that. And that should also help with that scalping, because you're going to cut below the crowns and allow the leaf to shoot from a lower point. Now, last point on top dressing is you can do it any time that your lawn is actively growing. So as long as it's growing well, you're mowing 1 to 2 times a week, you're going to be fine to top dress. Don't be doing it when it's brown and dormant, because it's not going to grow through and you could get some damage. But even cool season grass in winter, here I'm able to top dress it because it does grow through. I was doing dusting throughout winter on this green. I'm planning to do it a lot more this season as well, just to help get some levels fixed up, because the edges in some spots are a little bit lower, some spots sunk after we built the area because I didn't compact everything properly. You live and you learn. There's a spot down the side there, which the mower tends to scalp every time it comes through here. So I've really got to focus on fixing up areas like that. So to show you guys how we top dress, so I better show you, instead of just using this thing, how I do it if I was doing it manually, which I've done too many times, which is part of the reason why I've got a bit of a funny back. Because one time we had the top dresser break down the golf course and the bowling green, we had to top dress everything by hand. So, you know, not ideal. Anyway, you get good at top dressing though when you have to do stuff like that. So what you do is, get yourself a shovelful. It's super simple. All you gotta do is flick it out. So if you're left-handed, plant your left foot. If you're right-handed, plant your right foot. Plant your foot down and just flick it. The old flick and go technique. Now, I sort of twist my left hand, which would be your right hand if you're right-handed, to allow it to flick out. You don't just leave it flat and then fling it out, because it just does a dodgy throw. You gotta make sure you throw it well, because when you do throw it well, you get a nice, even distribution of your sand, and you don't have to do too much pushing around with your lawn level afterwards. So make sure you flick it out well, flick that wrist down to flick the sand out like that. And as you can see, nice and even, and it's not in a massive clump. It's gonna hurt me to do, but I'm not gonna flick my wrist and show you what I've seen heaps of guys doing online. Not the best way to top dress, because you don't get that nice even look. See, I've got a massive heavy clump there, like way too thick, and then it's super light out on the end there, so it just doesn't work. Now, afterwards, you get your lawn level, you push it around, and it levels it out like so. The lawn level will push the sand into the low spots, and also helps get rid of your rocks if you've got rocks on there like I do currently. So I'm just going to push the rocks off the edge like that. And as you can see, it drops down in there nicely, and you can see how the leaf is just poking out the top. That is what we are aiming for. We don't want to cover it completely. We just want to get it so the leaf's out the top. We're bringing our soil level up just that little bit, help leveling out the whole area. And it's going to help with stop that scalping, level it out, firm the surface up a little bit, which will be good for the green, so our mower doesn't drop into it and sink and do that scalping as well. All right, let's get it done. So it looks really, really good after that. As you can see, nice and thick. As I said, there is a bit of stone in there, which is a little bit of a bummer, but that's rubbing in nicely, and that's really helping bring up the sand level and helping that leaf blade just to be that little bit higher as well, which is what we're aiming for today. So I'll do that with the lawn level now, across the whole area, push around, level it out. It's funny, the lawn leveling is the hardest part nowadays. The top dressing is the easy part. Actually, even back in the day, top dressing by hand, the lawn leveling always used to stuff me the most for some reason. Let's get it done. Today we're going to use my lawn level here. So this is available on my website at lawntips.net. It's actually one of the new lawn levels that I now supply on there. 40-inch lawn level, super solid, lightweight. Had quite a few comments about how lightweight it is, which is awesome, which is good for this sort of work because it is hard. It does stuff you just a little bit. Anyway, let's use it. I'll show you how it works and how it's going to push this sand down to the canopy nicely. That's all done. My heart rate, as I said, when you do that, it got up to 122. So it is intense work. Now from here on in, if I gave my lawn water this morning, so it won't be a problem, but if you put sand out, be aware that it will dry out the leaf of the grass a little quickly, especially got a bit of wind about like we do today. So I might have to give this a light water this afternoon. I'll have to come and check, but make sure you keep the watering up. Water at least one time a week more than you generally would, and just keep an eye on it. And then also make sure you don't mow it until you've got quite a bit of leaf there and there's not a lot of sand about. Make sure you use a rotary mower the first mow if you're doing on your home lawn. Obviously here I cannot do that, but I've got a spare cylinder mower to actually come over here just in case we do collect any rocks, which is basically my bring back from renovation mower. So that won't be a problem for me. If you do get rocks like I did today, I mean, try and avoid it. I've got sand from these guys a few times and it hasn't been a problem. This is the first time I've seen this much rock in here. So I'm gonna have to blow it off all the edges and just come over again with the lawn level in like 2 days if there's any rock left on top, and just push it off again. But yeah, that's about it. Keep up the water, mow it once the sand's sort of disappearing. And apart from that, that's all there really is for it repairing, especially if we put some granular fertilizer out, like my Lawn Tips Dominate, or something like my Lawn Tips Mix with some Enhance or Pronto to help push some bright growth on this area, because a little bit of extra nitrogen is a great idea to help it push through that sand a little bit quicker. Well, thanks so much for watching. Really appreciate it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that video, and remember, all those products are available on my website as well, so you can check them out at lawntips.net. Anyway, thanks guys, appreciate you, and I'll see you very soon.